Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sports Shorts Daily, presented by LaBear's Casino. Ronnie Rain alongside Tommy Chrysan. We are representing all the logos today. TK rocking the crew. I am supporting the Sports Hall of Fame. And of course, TK Monty's in Baton Rouge, where they are just getting slam-packed, ready for Thanksgiving. You know, this is where you go. You want the fried turkeys. You want all the sides. You want any special cuts of meat. They are getting it ready. They will be open on Thanksgiving morning, too, huh, Tommy?
That's correct. I placed my order today for a sliced ham that I'll take to my daughter's house for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, pretty nice. So get all your order in and get by Tremonti's. Like I said, you just call it in right now, and then you can also pick it up on Thursday morning if you want. We, of course, presented by Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame is Sports Shorts and LaBear's Casino. A lot to get to today. A couple things. One, the Pro Football Hall of Fame. They have their Hall of Fame list down to 25 names. They'll announce the winners or the 2025 class at the Super Bowl in New Orleans this coming February. Little interesting fact, Eli Manning is on the ballot, eligible for the first time this year. He's in the semifinal list. And there's a total of three Sports Hall of Famers on that list. Reggie Wayne, Barry Evans, and now Eli Manning. So 3 and 25, three of them out of 25. Hopefully one of them gets in. Reggie Wayne and Barry Evans have been on the list before. I got to ask you, Tommy, do you think Eli Manning's a first ballot Hall of Famer? Do you think he's a Hall of Famer at all? There are 13 quarterbacks that have won 2 or more Super Bowls. 9 of them have been eligible for the Hall of Fame. Some of them are still active. 8 are in. Only Jim Plunkett, who played for the Raiders, who won a couple of titles, has not gotten in the Hall of Fame and will not probably. Do you think Eli Manning gets in the Hall of Fame?
I don't think he's going to get in. I mean, the 2 Super Bowls, okay, we get that. But if you look at the rest of his record, I mean, it's like a 500 quarterback. And again, there was some Giants teams that weren't all that good, and he's certainly a very, very good quarterback. He does have the 2 Super Bowls, and one of those was keeping the Patriots from being undefeated. So there's a little juice there. But I've read a lot on this. It's been talked about. I don't think he's going to get in on the first ballot. Now, down the road somewhere, we'll have to wait and see. I hope he does, because he's a Louisiana kid in the Manning family and Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame. We know all that. So I hope he does. But answering your question, I don't think he gets in on the first ballot.
I don't think he gets in on the first ballot either. I do think eventually it is the Hall of Fame. When you're in New York, in that market, he's a good guy. He was accessible. He took it on the chin for all those years. He won, 2 giant Super Bowls over Tom Brady. He was a 4-time Pro Bowler, never an All-Pro player, never led the league in passing or anything like that. But I do think the combination of all involved, the name and everything, the likability but at the end of the day, winning 2 titles in a short period of time against one of the greatest team quarterbacks that play, I do think it's long term. But similar career, right, to Jim Plunkett. Jim Plunkett was a quarterback. Probably
move your phone a little bit, right? Move your phone a little bit. There you go.
Jim Plunkett wasn't the best quarterback, but at the same time had a solid career and obviously won 2 titles. I think Eli Manning will get in one day, but I do not think it'll be on the first ballot. I agree with you.
Plunkett won one of those titles in New Orleans against the Eagles. That Plunkett was he's like Manning. He's got 2 Super Bowls. He did a lot of really good things, and there were years when it wasn't all that good. So we'll have to let that one play out. But yeah, I really think Jari Evans may get that call. I don't know. I mean, when you read what other players say about him, how he was the first one in the weight room, he was the first one there, he's the last guy to leave. He came from a small school and just committed his work ethic to become one of the best linemen, certainly in Saints history, if not the NFL history. I hope he gets in.
Jari Evans working with the Saints right now as an assistant offensive line coach for the Saints this season. And Jari was honored on Sunday. They retired. They put him in the Ring of Honor, which is a big deal. I mean, it's a very limited crew up there in the rafters. So he deserves all the accolades, and obviously Jari Evans will one day be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Will it be this year? Also, Jari Evans holds the distinction, at least in the last 10 years, since the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame induction ceremony, probably about 30 years ago, 20 years ago, really, kicked it up a notch. He's the only one that, since I've been the CEO of the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, going back to 2016, that wore shorts to the Hall of Fame induction ceremony. They were nice shorts. They were dress shorts, but he wore shorts to the Hall of Fame induction because it was super hot. And hey, definitely a fashion statement he made that day.
Well, he's the only one that did it, so that's pretty cool.
Who was jealous? Casey McKenzie. Casey was probably like, oh, that guy's out. All right, so speaking of the Saints on a little bit of a heater right now. Got everybody talking about, hey, what's the future of the Saints? They have an off week before they take on the Rams at 3 o'clock Dome the Sunday after Thanksgiving. And it's an opportunity for the Saints to get healthy, and who knows what's going to happen. The Saints are feeling a little bit better at 4-7 than another 4-7 team, the Cincinnati Bengals. The last couple of days around the league about how they've got the leading quarterback in the league. They got the leading, but yet right now the season, the Bengals are not in the playoffs. Do you think they get it together, Tommy, to make the playoffs?
I don't know, man. Joe Burrow's having a heck of a year in spite of everything else. Jamar Chase doing well. I mean, they kind of got their work cut out for them a little bit. I mean, there's enough time that if you get hot, if they can win 5 out of 6 or 4 out of 5 or 5 in a row, it can happen. And certainly with a quarterback like Burrow, you think that has a chance. A lot of other factors, but they really got to get hot to have a chance. The Saints, I mean, this sounds crazy, but they're 2 games out of the lead of the NFC South. 2 games out, and they got to play some opponents yet. Can they build on the confidence they've gained in the last 2 weeks? I don't know. But, Darren Rizzi has put some juice into this team, and they're feeling good. They got a couple of wins, and, Rams are a pretty good team, but not that they're unbeatable by no stretch. So we'll have to see how that plays out as well. I mean, there's reason to be thinking about it, I guess.
I don't think either the Bengals or the Saints are going to make the playoffs. Here's my take: is that both teams have 7 games left to go. Both are 4-7. Both are 2 games out of the playoffs right now. Remember, the Broncos hold the 7th spot in the AFC wild card. The Saints are 2 games out of first. Obviously, they're not going to be in the wild card race. They're going to have to win their division. The problem with the Bengals, and the Saints have the easier path to make the playoffs, no question. It's than the Bengals. The Bengals are in a tough division. They got the Steelers, they got the Ravens over there in that division, and that's the problem. Is that if you were in a softer conference, division, you might think, okay, well maybe they can get on a run because they are a good team and offensively they're as good as anybody. But I just they're going to have to, with 7 games, 2 back, 7 games, a couple other teams also in the hunt. It's not just chasing down the Broncos, who at this point you got to get Sean Payton Coach of the Year consideration with a rookie quarterback to be above 500 in the playoffs right now. I just think they've built themselves too big of a hole, and it's crazy some of the losses that they've had. And so, but I don't think either one. I think the Saints are going to, come back down to reality. I think Tampa Bay is going to get their act together, and that would be my pick. I don't know what's going on with the Falcons. It's been bizarre the last couple of weeks. Kirk on a roll, and all of a sudden now that team is falling apart. But out of those 2 paths, I think neither makes the playoffs.
Well, if you look at the NFC South, the Saints and the Panthers have both got 2-game win streaks, and the Falcons and the Buccaneers have struggled. The Buccaneers have lost 5 in a row. I mean, it's kind of like a shift in the dynamics of the NFC South. But we'll see if that maintains itself.
It's a bizarre situation, no question about it. We talked yesterday briefly about the whole Brian Kelly situation. People were very outspoken about Brian Kelly getting on players, particularly Chris Hilton on the sidelines. They were reading his lips. They could see there was some, profanity used and all that. And, 10 plus years ago, not even that long ago, if Coach O would have done it, people would have cheered. if Coach O would have cursed out a wide receiver or got on somebody's face, they'd have been, "Atta boy, Coach O, you tell him." Les Miles, they'd have said, "That's what we're looking for, Coach." Now, all of a sudden, in 2024, Brian Kelly from the North, not well supported or liked. LSU's lost 3 in a row. Now it's, "Hey, what are you doing? That was too hard," which is bizarre. But John Boy Media, JOMBOY, John Boy Media is a fantastic review and breakdown. If I urge you to go to it. John Boy Media has made themselves famous over the years for reading lips, particularly in baseball arguments and stuff between managers, umpires, or players and umpires and things like that. There's a lot. They do the best at breaking reading lips and saying what they're reading what they're saying. And they did a breakdown of Brian Kelly getting on Chris Hilton, but then they even went so far back as to show why Brian Kelly was frustrated and all the examples of Brian Kelly who was telling Kristen, "Why do you have to jump? Why don't you keep your feet on the ground?" And then showing all the examples of him jumping throughout the season. Not only when he doesn't need to jump, but also he's the worst time jump ever for a guy who played high school basketball and was a good one. Like what are we doing? I mean, so anyway, I urge folks to go check that out and follow them on social. I have no problem with Brian Kelly getting on players. Now you got to reap what you sow in 2024. You got to coddle these guys. You got to hug them. You got to love them. Yeah, tough love and all that. And look, you're going to lose some players. You can't handle and discipline all the players all the same way. Coach Bertman was the master at that. Right? He handled differently than Armando Rios. He knew with each guy. That said, exactly what buttons to put Chris Hilton. But I just all
It's hard to hear you, Ronnie. You're going out a lot. Yeah, and Brian Kelly's an old school coach. He's winning his active coach in the NCAA college football. So, he's old school where hollering at the guys and getting on the guys was part of it. And now it's a different world than what Brian Kelly's coached for the last 35 plus years. It's a different world now that Brian Kelly's coaching in compared to where he was with the portal, with NIL, and every player reacts differently to that. Okay, and you saw that, and we know Skip Bertman. There were kids he would get on, and it would motivate them, and all of a sudden they make significant improvement. Other kids would clam up a little bit. So let's hope Kelly knows who he can deal with like that going forward. I mean, I don't mind seeing it. Look, Ronnie, I hear a lot of parents over at Most Blessed Sacrament. They want a coach that's going to get on their kid a little bit, give them some structure. They don't mean abuse the kid and use the language, but they want kids to be coached and taught. And if you're going to be an elite player, you're going to play high school level, and if you're lucky enough to play after that, you're going to have a coach somewhere along the line that's straight up with you and tells you, "Hey, this is how we're going to bake the cake." And you're going to have to hustle. You're going to have to time your jump. You're going to have to, dive for the loose ball, whatever sport it might be. And I think we need more of that. And a lot of that has gone away in the world of sports.
Yeah, no question about it. Listen, when you said abuse the player just because colorful language is used, I don't, that terminology has snuck into 2024 because a coach uses a profanity and when they're getting a point across. I don't think that's abuse, and that's the difference between a 52-year-old and a 22-year-old. I guess these days people use the word abuse way too frequently and easily these days.
Well, Ron Higgins makes a comment. He says players are getting paid. They are employees. Brian Kelly has every right to cuss his players. So good point by Ron there. We appreciate him chiming in.
Yeah.
I'm siding with Ron on that because they are getting paid. And
Right.
There's language in every high school practice. I mean, it's part of it. Okay, we don't want it below high school or whatever, but that's just part of the world now. I mean, cursing 20 years ago was taboo. Now it's not. It's in the business world. It's on the golf course. It's when you're coaching a college football team, basketball team, whatever. It's part of it.
Well, I would say I don't know that cursing 20 years ago was taboo. I think it was more accepted in certain situations. You ever went to a John Brady practice, you'd learn your hair would stand up in the back of your neck. If you ever went to Menard High football practice in the late 80s with Bob Mahfouz as the head coach, you'd learn a few things. It's all generational, and it all depends on where you come from. But I think nowadays, like to my point that Ron was making, these are professionals. The guy who's playing first base at LSU this year is going to make more money than Skip Bertman made at any year as head coach of the LSU Tigers. Like, that is reality. That is fact. And so where before we would say, hey, they're 18, 19, 20-year-olds, they're kids, they're college students, let's not get upset at them on the radio or doing call-in shows and be very critical of them because, hey, they're just getting scholarship and they're 19, 20-year-olds. They love LSU. They're trying the best they can. Like, that was the language for years and years. Well, now it's the guy's going to play 1 year, maybe two at your college before he's somewhere else, or he was somewhere else before he came here. He's getting paid. There's no difference between an LSU basketball player now than there was between Kobe Bryant his first and second year in the NBA with the Lakers. He just was making more money. It's the same thing. And so, and Kobe had it easier because Kobe didn't have to go to class. He was just getting paid to play basketball. Now these guys have to fake going to class. And I talked to an LSU athlete that's at a different school now, and I said, how'd you like your new school? He goes, I love everything about my new school except for the fact that I have to go to class. He said, I didn't really have to go to class at LSU. I'd show up first day, last day, in between, maybe take some stuff online. I was good. So, now they have to at least fake being college athletes, some of them. Some are for real, some just are getting through. And so I think, hey, man, got to grow tough, thick skin. You want to play at LSU. You want to with the big dogs. You want to get paid the big money. You want to be a star. Everybody know your name. It comes with the consequences. There are expectations. And when those expectations aren't met, Tommy, you might get an upset Brian Kelly.
Well, and it's not just unique to LSU. This is across the board. I mean, the Raging Cajuns coach, he's doing the same thing. McNeese coach, I mean, it's across the board. I mean, it's not unique to LSU. And look, high school, it happens in high school. I know a lot of situations where coaches got in trouble a little bit because of some language, but they worked it all out and worked past it because it's a different world now.
By the way, speaking of high school, we had Robin Fambro on our show a few episodes ago, and it came out that the court did not award University High their injunction to put them into the playoffs. They stayed with the LHSAA ruling, so University High not playing the second week, which was so they had a bye week. They qualified for a bye based on their regular season record. So they have been eliminated from the playoffs, and Booker T. Washington will now advance to the quarterfinals because there is no game this week between U High. I feel bad for the players. I feel bad for the kids. I don't understand administrators and coaches. There's a process. You fill out paperwork. You got to do this. You got to check that box. It's been going on for ever and ever and ever, and for it not to happen is ridiculous. And the adults should be held accountable, not the players. But it is what it is. You can't have an advantage like that. You got to break the rules, and you pay the consequences. Another situation that just developed, I want to get your take on. It broke in the news yesterday. Dee Dee Bro, the legendary gymnastics coach for LSU, over 43 years of gymnastics coach. She's in the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame. Now she's sort of an ambassador for the athletic department. She had like around 30 championship rings stolen out of her office. She had a ring box, around 30 rings from all the years of gymnastics, and not to mention her national championship ring she just got they gave her, got stolen.
I mean, that's bizarre. Something about the door wasn't locked or whatever, and she doesn't go there every day, apparently, according to the article I read. It's just so unfortunate. And, I think they need to do one of those, okay, look, return this stuff, put it in a box, put it somewhere. If you return it all, no questions asked. I think they need to do one of those things. But, I mean, because if somebody pops them up, trying to sell them on the black market or sell them online somewhere, somebody's going to go, hey, wait a minute. So, I mean, what can you really do with them? They're not, how do I say that? I think the total value is $3,000 or $4,000. It's not like
that's not even accurate. Yeah, some of those rings are worth hundreds of dollars from years ago. Now they've gone up in price, but the amount of gold, the amount of diamonds is so minimal that even after melting them down and everything, they're not worth that much.
That's where I was going. If you melted it down, you're not going to get that much. Whether if you had 20 Super Bowl rings from the last 20 years, that'd be $1 million plus. Okay,
Right.
so it's just unfortunate. I feel bad for Dee Bro, and it's just not a good thing at all. And hopefully, somehow, some way, it works out that she can get that situation corrected.
She can get the rings replaced. You can
Right.
contact Jostens and all that, and I'm sure the athletic department will probably pick up the tab, and they will replace them. You have to get a letter from LSU. They'll send a letter saying, "Yeah, please allow this person to restock their rings." Yeah, it's a shame. It's probably somebody passing by, an employee, working there. And that's the thing, is that they'll never be able to do anything with them. They'll never be able to sell them in a pawn shop. They'll never even melting them down is risky. I don't know where do you go to do that, Tommy? And then all those places are on notice from the police probably, because it's such a high profile case. So just a stupid thing. Let's hope they end up, like you said, just get dropped in a post office box or left on the doorstep. You would think there might be some cameras or something that'd be going
Well,
through.
that's the other thing. I mean, shouldn't it? I mean, I would think there's cameras that could be looked at. I don't know. If not, they need to
Tommy,
put some in.
Tommy, I'm going to get you some information on this if this happens. It may possibly could happen tomorrow. We're working out the details to see. But Casey McKenzie, the general manager of the Baton Rouge Rougarou, and of course, a good friend of ours, he and Doug, I don't know, he came up with this bet. I don't know if he'd had something to drink or whatever, and he got a little loose, but he decided, since he considers himself a really good scramble golf player, meaning he puts together a great team and he rides in the cart all day, that he's going to bet me $500 that I can't break 100 on a golf course. I can pick any golf course in Baton Rouge. Got to play 18 holes. I have to break 100, shoot 99 or better. The key, the caveat is that he can talk crap the whole time. He can say whatever vile things he wants to say to try to get under my skin, but he can't talk once I address the golf ball. He can get in my head and he can try to, psych me out and do whatever, play whatever music, say whatever. But once I address the golf ball, meaning I stand over it, I'm take my practice swing and I'm ready to go, he can't make any noise or say anything or do anything at that point. And he thinks that psychological warfare is going to be enough to have me shoot 100 or worse. So I'm picking Beaver Creek. It's a golf course that's forgiving. It's a course that I've always played well, and it's sort of wide open, which fits my game. Not that difficult, but well maintained. And we're going to play 18, and I have a little gallery ride around.
Well, I tell you what, it's funny you said that. I was going to say you need to go to Beaver Creek because it is a little more forgiving than Greystone or some other places here around the town. I will caddy for you. I don't want anything. You buy me lunch, and I will counter his vile comments with positive comments, and then I will talk you in. Yeah, as you know, I caddied on the tour a little bit. I will get you to play the course backwards, which is how the pros play it, and I can explain that to somebody later on. And I will help you shoot better than 99. You just got to tell me when so I can make arrangements.
All right. We're gonna make that happen as soon as we know when and where that's gonna take place. We'll put it out there. Folks are welcome to come out and update on our social media. Follow us on go to Sports Shorts, sports_shorts on Twitter, or go to Sports Shorts on Facebook. It's a little white circle with red dots. We'll post on there.
If Celebration Station was still open, we could go over there and just touch your way around. But no, I think Beaver Creek would be a good choice for this wager. And I'm in. And it'll be a lot of fun. And then, look, we'll have some fun with it on social media. We'll put some things up. Or like when you have that putt for the 99 on the 18th hole, that's going to be all over. Well, when you're putting for 96, where you have a little wiggle room, we'll put that all over the thing. And then we'll have another camera on Casey's reaction.
That's good. I like it. All right, tell us about Tremonti's before we get out of here.
Well, order your Thanksgiving turkeys now. Fried, smoked, rotisserie, all the side dishes, everything you need. They've got gift cards available for the holiday season, good all the way through Christmas. They've just stocked up on bourbon and wine and liquor, all the side dishes. They got a new thing here called blueberry sausage. I'm going to taste it later today. Smoked blueberry sausage. It's supposed to be out of this world. It's all at Tremonti's Meat and Seafood. We want you to check them out very soon. We're back again on Friday for another episode of Sports Shorts Daily. Hey, like and share this show. I don't care if you're listening, watching on YouTube, X, or Facebook. Like and share it. That helps us out a lot. Appreciate all the comments today from Carl, Ron, and the others. And on behalf of everybody here at Tremonti's Meat and Seafood, on behalf of Ronnie Rance, I'm Tommy Krysan. Have a very good day, everyone.